Hello everyone. So today we are again on a very important topic, which is AWS Serverless. I have very good topics which I have covered in AWS Serverless, Lambda, SNS, SQS, all the demo and sample code that you can see as part of my videos. Please refer my playlist and also please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed, because I'm planning to slowly move to AWS CDK. Serverless framework is very important. That is why I'm explaining everything in serverless, so that when you move to CDK, you understand the basic concept. See, on AWS Word, everything works in a CloudFormation template, which is a YAML file. All right. So no matter what you write, serverless.yaml or something, it converts everything into CloudFormation template, CDK as well. So this particular session is focused on DynamoDB and how you can use serverless framework to write into DynamoDB and get it from there. So this is where I have this particular code which you can see right now. So um, let me quickly prepare the serverless YAML file. This is the same skeleton I have been using quite a long time with many other services. So you see here provider, functions, resources. On a very high level, these are the things which are needed. So when it comes to provider, I have region set, and now I have to set my environment. So I will write environment environment, environ, yeah, environment. And the environment is in the environment I would like to have DynamoDB, DYNMO, Dy, and AMO, DynamoDB underscore table. Yeah. And this I will be calling as dollar, and then it will be self service, and then hyphen, then again dollar, and then SLS colon stage, and then again hyphen table. So this will be the name that for DynamoDB table will be created. And then after that, I would need my IAM role statement, IAM, and then role statements. So I'll be writing this first and then explaining you to guys like what exactly and why we are doing all that. So the very first in IAM role is like effect. Okay. Effect, we want to give allow, and then we have action. In action, we would like to perform to like hyphen DynamoDB dot put item. This is one, and I can copy this and paste it here. DynamoDB dot get item. Get item. All right. So DynamoDB dot put item, DynamoDB dot get item. So these actions are done. And then I will add resource, which will be the same level, resource. And in resource, the correct name of the table. So it will be ARN, because everything in AWS with have unique ARN, colon DynamoDB, and then colon, and I copy this whole. Okay, so first I need to write like colon the region. So dollar self provider region, and then after this I'll be writing this, and then star colon table slash dollar self colon service, and then hyphen dollar here SLS hyphen stage, STAGE stage hyphen table. Yeah. So this is the full name, like the unique ID, ARN AWS DynamoDB self provider dot region. It will be dot region, not colon. And then provider dot region, and then colon. Then we have star. Then we have again colon. Then we have table. Then we have slash tells. Okay, so this looks good. And then we have another effect which is okay, so this one has to move a little bit. So this is the pane actually which we have with the with the YAML file, and this pane is really very bad, and that is why we want to move to AWS. We want to move to AWS CDK, and slowly, very soon, I'm kind of preparing everything when it comes to AWS CDK, and I hope you guys like it. So now next is another effect, which is allow, and then we have action. And in this action, I want to give execute permission to execute permission, and I want to give execute permission to execute API, and then I want to say I want to invoke this, right? So colon invoke, and this one I don't need this, and this is here what we need colon here, not dot. Okay, so this looks good. When it comes to resource here, I will say all for now, all the APIs. Okay. All the APIs. Now we have functions here. So function, let's say save item is the method name. So let me quickly go here. I just have already a method which is save item. And let me quickly code this save item. Method event is there. ID and data we have here. And then I will say if I have ID defined, not defined, and data not defined in both the cases, what I'll do, I'll just return um, something with status code 400, and body I can return as, I can copy this whole, Control C, and then paste it here, and then I can say body like JSON.stringify, and then this is a message. Instead of message, I will say error, and it will be kind of some error, which is, let's say, missing fields. And detail, another field. We get detail. Let's say it will be error dot message. Okay, so this is what we can use for anything when it comes when there are any errors. Okay. Now moving to the next part, which is I have to prepare some object for making a call to DynamoDB. So I'll prepare like this. Over here, I will say table name. This is one key, and I will say table name as one of the table name I want to go with. And then I would say item I want to save, and this will be here. First would be my ID. Okay, and this will be my partition key for sure. Partition key. And then second would be my data, and third would be my created at, let's say, and there I will say new date, and I will say dot to string, to ISO string would be better. Okay, so that's pretty much all when it comes to this. And now I have to make a call to write await. DynamoDB is something which we need, so I need to import this DynamoDB on the top. So const DynamoDB, so db is equals to new AWS dot DynamoDB db dot document client, and this is the way how we import this. And let me take the table name also. Table name is equals to process dot env dot DynamoDB. It will be all caps because DynamoDB underscore table name. Yeah, so table. Yeah, so this is what we already have here. Yes, this one. So it will automatically fetch this. Okay, so now what I was doing here, DynamoDB object is created, dot put, and then here I will say params, and then I would promise. This is all looks good. And this is the written message in case everything goes good, success. In case of error, this will be like this. So let me format this. Okay, so this is all good. I see one error. Let me check. What is the error? Okay, so this is the error. I just fix this and format this code one more time. So this is ready. So over here, I created my environment. DynamoDB table is there. IAM role statements are there. I just need to add now, which is very important part, which is save function. So save function would be very simple. Like save item is the name of the function, which is here, lambda function. And this will have a handler, handler, handler. And in handler, we have handler dot save item. Okay, so this handler will be having dot save item. Then we have events here, and in events, what I will do is like HTTP, and in HTTP we have path. Path would be save, and then second would be method, and method would be post. All right. So this is what we have in the function. Now in resources, as you know, resources are very important because these will uniquely provision the resources. So in the resources, I will first create dynamo DB table. So this is what I have to create DynamoDB table. So in table it is T. Okay, so DynamoDB table, and then inside this DynamoDB table, I will write type of this DynamoDB table. The type would be AWS, then dynamo dynamo db, and then table table, and then we have properties for the table. In the properties we have table name, table name table name, and there I can just copy the table name which I have here. Yes, so this table name looks good. And then we have attri attribute definitions attribute definitions. And attribute definitions, we have first attribute like attribute name. Attribute name, it will be first will be ID, and then we have attribute type. Attribute type would be S, and then we have here key schema. Key schema, again we have attribute name, attribute attribute name. Attribute name, attribute name would be ID, and then we have key type. Key type, it will be hash, and then yeah, so that's pretty much all. So let me quickly format this. So yeah, so let me quickly explain this. I always write this in a fashion. So Provider, you know what is provider, right? It specifies the cloud provider name and whatever you need for your cloud, wherever you deploy want it. So Node.js is runtime environment you want to use. This is the region where you want to create and provision all the things. Then DynamoDB table is something which defines environment variable that will be available in your Lambda function. So this will be available to your Lambda function. Um, this block, actually, the provider block configure all provider settings such as runtime, region, environment variable. Then we have IAM role statements. There, what we are trying to do, define the permission for your Lambda function, right? So this Lambda function, what permission this Lambda function has. So this block specifies which AWS resources, for example, DynamoDB API gateway, the Lambda function can access. So you see here, this is all resources they can access. Effect allow, when you give, it grants permission specified, so you can perform put and get item via Lambda functions. Action put an item for DynamoDB and invoke API for your API. So this function, it gives your Lambda function write permission to access DynamoDB and API gateway resources. So this is all good. Now we have functions here. So when it comes to functions, we have same item, the name of the Lambda function, which is here, matching it, and then handler specifies the file and function that will handle the Lambda function logic, right? So in our case, it is like handler.save item. So you see here handler.save item. This is the name of the uh, like function logic. And then events is something which defines which event that trigger the Lambda function in case of a HTTP call. So you need to write the HTTP call. Save is the path, and this Lambda function defines that interacts with API gateway and process incoming HTTP request. Resources. So resources is again very important here. Resources defines resources that will be created as part of the deployment. In this case, DynamoDB table is one of the resource. And then we have to define the properties for that resource. So table name, then attribute definitions, such as used as a part key schema, in this case ID. And then key schema defines the primary key for the DynamoDB table, where ID is the partition key. And then this is pretty much all when it comes to serverless YAML. And over here, you see here, we read this environment variable which we have created here and bound it to the runtime environment. And then table name is this DynamoDB table. And we are using AWS SDK library to push the field. So this is how exactly it goes. Let me quickly deploy this and see how it goes. So I have already AWS CLI set up on my machine. So I will quickly uh, deploy this using this command. Okay, so there is something wrong in the serverless YAML. I'll quickly check and see what's wrong. So for sure, attribute S, where's this? Yeah, so there is something wrong here. So I have attribute definitions in that, then I have attribute name. Okay, so I think the spaces are not required. And then we have attribute type, which is S. All good. Okay. Okay. So now there is some other error, which is type error. Event.sum is not a function. So okay. Okay. So this will be K capital. Okay. So I need to validate where exactly what is missing. DynamoDB table. Type AWS DynamoDB colon table. Okay. Then properties. P is capital here. Uh, okay. So properties, in that properties, we have table name. Okay, let me run this. Okay, so there is something still wrong. I just need to find out what is missing. ATTRIBUTEDEFINITIONS attribute definitions, table name, properties, type. Okay, this looks good. Attribute 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 name is id. Okay. Attribute type is s. Then key schema, key is case capital, and attribute name and key type. Okay. Okay, so still this is not happy. Attribute. Okay. Line number 41. Okay. Okay, which line it has problems? Stream compile events. Okay. Invalid configuration. So functions dot save items dot events must be an array. So I think it's something here. Handler. Okay, so let me quickly check functions save item. Then we have handler dot save item. Then we have events. We have http path save method post. All right, and let me quickly go to this save item. Okay, to me it looks pretty straightforward. I'm not getting actually why it is not running. So these are the following warnings. Functions dot save items dot event must be an array. Dot events. Okay, so what I'm doing then here, it's an event events, and then inside that we have http. Okay, so let's wait. I think this space was missing and that's why it was crying. And this is the pain with serverless YAML files. So that's why I already told you we need to move to um, CDK, and this is the really the one of the biggest reason why I am planning very soon AWS CDK stuff as part of my AWS Word and different sessions. Okay, so you see here the service is deployed. Now I try to see the things on AWS Word. So you see here CloudFormation template, and over here we have this one of the template which got generated. I'll quickly go to DynamoDB and see how this word looks. So we have this DynamoDB. I look for the table. So this table got created. Explore item. There is nothing in the table. No stuff in the table. I duplicate this. I'll check my API gateway. So API gateway is here. I'm expecting an API. So this API gateway, it has created save endpoint. That's good. And you see here, this is all looking good. I will also check my lambda function here. So this should create a lambda function. You see this lambda function is created. It also looks good. Now let me try to play around uh, with this URL and save something to the API. So I have already this object already created for you, curl, and I just copy this and try to hit one of the endpoint. Post to this DynamoDB, and I push it this a message item saved successfully. So if I go to DynamoDB and refresh this page, so you will see that here we have this record, right? So we have this record here with the data which we have inserted. So this is how exactly we can just play around with this. Uh, so this is saved. I refresh this again, and you will see there these records coming in. So Pankaj Mishra and age this. So this is how exactly the DynamoDB stuff work. As I shared this. This is very simple code. You can read it. You can refer my video. I already explained you the importance of all these serverless framework. I know there's a pain in understanding this, but I'll be starting soon my series on AWS UDK, which will solve all this YAML and all these formatting errors which we very prone to when we create any serverless deployment. Thank you very much. I see you in another video. I will